This is Atlantic Television Network. Welcome to Global News at 9 p.m. First, the highlights. Rivers State government settles 2.7 million naira hospital bill for infant. Reps propose 3,500 naira daily wage for unskilled labor. EFCC suspends officers over 10 million naira extortion. Minister urges bankers to finance youth's ideas. UK police investigate London-bound train knife attack. And Wolves sack manager Victor Pereira. Actress Ngozi Nwosu speaks on domestic violence. Welcome back. Rivers State government has cleared all outstanding bills at a private hospital in Port Harcourt, where an infant and his grandmother were allegedly held for about 13 months over non-payment of the hospital bills. There had been controversy after the family of one Ugochukwu Onyenihigo accused the hospital of refusing to release the baby following the death of his mother during preterm delivery, and it emerged that the baby, Miracle, and his grandmother had been released after an understanding was reached between the hospital name withheld and the family. The family's lawyer had earlier disclosed that the hospital reduced the bill from about 6 million naira to 2.27 million naira with an agreed payment plan with the father. A statement by the State Commissioner for Health, Adeze Ore, said the government decided to offset the outstanding payments following the economic difficulties expressed by the baby's father, and the hospital had been asked to furnish the ministry with the outstanding bill and express satisfaction with the amicable resolution reached between both parties. Ore also said the process was midwifed by the Judicial Service Officer of the Family Court, where a case of child abandonment had been filed by the hospital on humanitarian grounds, adding that the agreement had been communicated to the court and the case withdrawn. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has called on the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Joash Amupitan, to use the upcoming Anambra State governorship election to show to the world that electoral umpire won't be sacrificed for the satisfaction of the All Progressives Congress APC. Atiku said Amupitan should use the election to show that INEC has turned a new leaf and urged people of the state to mobilize and vote for the candidate of the African Democratic Congress ADC. He also said the election is also an opportunity for the electoral umpire under the leadership of Professor Joash Amupitan's son to prove to the world that it has turned a new page and that the integrity of the election would not be sacrificed for the satisfaction of the ruling party. Suspected kidnappers have abducted a consultant neurosurgeon, identified simply as Mr. Manu Goti in Uragu Inewi in Inewi North Local Government, Anambra State, a top official of the Nigerian Medical Association in Anambra State, who craved anonymity, disclosed the kidnapping of their colleague to journalists, adding that relevant government agencies had been put on notice. When contacted, the spokesman for the Anambra State Police Command, SP Tochukwu Ikenga, confirmed the incident, adding that the police received the report of the abduction of the medical doctor and the Commissioner of Police had called on residents, especially within Inewi and its environs, to remain calm, vigilant, and supportive of the police by providing credible information that could assist in the investigation. All Progressives Congress has urged the Independent National Electoral Commission and Nigeria Police Force to investigate Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo over his recent promise of cash rewards to party supporters in wards that deliver victory for the All Progressives Grand Alliance in next Saturday's governorship election. The APC's National Secretary Ajibola Bashiru, who disclosed this on Sunday, accused Soludo of attempting to influence voters through financial inducement instead of relying on his administration's performance, adding that Soludo, who is also the APGA governorship candidate, sparked controversy after the pledging cash incentives during a campaign rally in Umunze, Orumba South local government area. On October 25, at the rally, the governor promised monetary rewards to party supporters based on ward performance in the election, and further argued that the governor's cash pledge undermined electoral integrity, stressing that police must also investigate APGA's campaign finances to ensure compliance with electoral laws. However, Anambra State Commissioner for Information, Dr. Law Mefo, dismissed the allegations, describing the APC as the pathetic opposition in the state, insisting that the governor's remarks were aimed at boosting voter turnout, not buying votes. He also said Soludo's administration had performed beyond expectations, and many communities had voluntarily contributed funds to support his re-election. Enugu police commanders detained 5 male suspects for alleged armed robbery and related offences in separate operations within the state. A statement released on Sunday in Enugu, the command spokesperson Daniel Undukwe said operatives recovered 2 firearms and 7 rounds of ammunition from the suspects. He said operatives of the Distress Response Squad intercepted a shuttle bus from Enugu to Abakaliki during a stop and search operation along the Enugu-Abakaliki road, and while searching, the occupant was found with unlawful possession of a cut-to-size locally made single-barreled gun and was immediately detained. Indukwe said operatives of the Anti-Cultism Tactical Squad, acting on credible intelligence, stormed New Gariki by Ugu Achara in Enugu and detained another suspect. According to him, the State Commissioner of Police, Maman Giwa, commended the command for the successful operations and urged residents to be law-abiding, vigilant, and support the police, especially during the Ember months. Lagos State government has declared compulsory insurance for all multi-story commercial buildings above 2 floors. This was disclosed at the just concluded 2025 real estate discussions and awards held in Lagos and organized by Think Mint Nigeria. At the keynote presentations, the special advisor to the governor on Enterprise Geographic Information System (EGS) and Urban Development, Dr. Olajide Batunde, reaffirmed Lagos State's commitment to transforming land administration as well as urban renewal and housing delivery through technology, transparency, and sustainable planning. He warned developers against double allocations, forged surveys, and unapproved development, adding that the state is conducting a comprehensive fiscal planning audit and will impose penalties on non-compliant properties and urged Lagos residents and investors to verify all land titles, surveys, and building approvals before any transaction to avoid sanctions. He further advocated green building designs, climate-resilient infrastructure, and smart city innovations, describing sustainability as the foundation of Lagos's future planning strategy, and also underscored the role of the EGS initiative in promoting transparency and efficiency in land management. Some federal civil servants in Osun State are demanding for the speedy completion of the federal secretariat in the state 14 years after it was awarded. The federal workers on Sunday in Oshogbo said the project awarded in 2011 is still under construction and the secretariat located at Okebale area along Ibokun Road in Oshogbo was expected to be completed in 2014. The workers appealed to the federal government to investigate the cause of the delay and take appropriate steps to ensure its timely completion, adding that no matter what might have caused the delay, 14 years was too long for the completion of the secretariat. He appealed to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure the project's completion under his renewed hope agenda and further described the project as seemingly unending. When contacted, Sebastian Abang, the chief resident architect of the Federal Ministry of Housing in the state, said, the secretariat is about 80% complete and further attributed the slow pace of work at the secretariat to funds released by the federal government. Kogi Polytechnic has commenced investigation into a syndicate of 9 suspects for alleged certificate racketeering and document falsification. The director of the Kogi Polytechnic, Professor Salusi Ogbo, who disclosed this in Lagos, said 5 of the institution's staff members had already been placed on suspension, while 4 acclaimed students had been arrested over the uncovered certificate forgery and documents falsification syndicate. According to him, the fraud was uncovered following intelligence reports and routine verification exercises carried out by the admission ICT and security units of the institution, adding that the suspects colluded with result processors to prepare results for individuals who had multiple carryovers but refused to sit for their examinations, thereby falsely pretending them as graduates. The director assured the general public, stakeholders, and public polytechnic community that the institution's quality assurance measures and security mechanisms remain fully active and uncompromised. Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja has sentenced the 19-year-old teacher, Abdullahi Abbas, to life imprisonment for raping a 9-year-old pupil. A statement on Sunday by the press office of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, Vincent Adekoye, said, judgment was delivered by Justice M. Osho Adebiyi of the court on October 29, who was working in one of the schools located in Kwali and was sentenced without the option of a fine. Abbas was arraigned on 2 counts of rape and sexual abuse and was subsequently convicted and sentenced. And while commenting on the issue, Director General of NAPTIP, Binta Bello, lauded the judiciary for the judgment and the support of all partners in the prosecution of the case and the conviction of the offender. Niger State local government election on Saturday recorded a low turnout of voters while violence was witnessed in some parts of the state. Election materials started arriving at some of the polling units around 11 a.m. with less than 20 voters present, while in Magama local government area, hoodlums disrupted the exercise as they set election materials ablaze in the council. An eyewitness in the area said trouble started when officials of one of the opposition parties contesting the election inspected the materials, and after confirming the navy blue marked ballot papers for the chairmanship position and red ink marked ballot papers for the councillorship position, the party officials insisted on seeing the election results sheets. He said the area electoral officials could not provide any reasonable answer to the officials, who sensed a premeditated plan to write election results, and officials allegedly grabbed the election materials and set them ablaze as the electoral officials fled the place. The spokesman of the Niger State Police Command, Wasiu Abiodun, would confirm the incident, said the command had been informed of the skirmishes in the area and that some arrests were made. Meanwhile, Niger State Governor Mohammed Bago expressed delight over the voter turnout at the poll. The Chief Press Secretary to the Governor Bologi Ibrahim, in a statement, said the governor made the comments after voting at his Tuashar Giraba polling unit 010 Lanzon Ward Bida local government area of the state. Kaduna State Governor Senator Obasani has approved the appointment of 34 new officials into various boards, parastatals, and advisory positions across the state as part of efforts to strengthen governance and enhance public service delivery. The governor said the appointments were aimed at giving opportunities to innovative and resourceful professionals to contribute to the socio-economic and political re-engineering of the state. A statement on Sunday by his Chief Press Secretary Ibrahim Musa listed appointees for key institutions including the Kaduna State Senior Secondary Schools Education Board, Institute of Vocational Training, while the police spokesman said the command had swiftly deployed a joint team comprising police tactical units, military personnel, and local vigilantes to pursue the abductors and secure the safe rescue of the deputy speaker. Taraba State has reported an outbreak of the avian influenza virus, popularly known as bird flu, in parts of Wukari local government area of the state. The state government, at the press briefing addressed by the Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Security, Professor Nicholas Nemsan, said it received a report about a sudden death of a large number of birds in the Jibu community in the local government area. Namsan, represented by the Deputy Director of Veterinary Services in the ministry, Dr. Francis Nathan, said a rapid assessment team was immediately deployed and samples were collected for laboratory analysis, and the samples returned positive for bird flu on October 29, adding that the government has activated rapid response teams and imposed an immediate ban on the movement of birds and poultry products in and out of the Jibu, Kakari, and Yamini axis to prevent further spread of the virus. The commissioner also declared a temporary shutdown of live birds markets in Doruba, Bantaje, and Yamini, and also warned that the virus is zoonotic and poses a potential risk to humans, while advising residents in the affected areas to suspend the consumption of poultry products until further notice. The commissioner further urged poultry farmers to strengthen biosecurity and called on the public to promptly report any sudden death of birds to the nearest veterinary clinic, and also appeal to development partners and relevant stakeholders to support the state's efforts to contain the outbreak. Bauchi State Police Command has arrested 2 suspects for alleged criminal conspiracy and theft of motorcycles in Darazo local government area of the state. A statement by the command spokesperson, CSP Ahmed Wakil, the suspects are identified as Nura Yahoo and Bayero Isa, both residents of Akuyam village in Misao local government area, were apprehended by detectives from the Darazo division. According to the police, a concerned citizen reported to the Darazo divisional police headquarters that 2 unknown individuals on red Boxer Bajaj motorcycles were seen behaving suspiciously while inquiring about motorcycle dealers at a garage in Kari village. Upon receiving the report, the divisional police officer SP Awalu Ilu led a team of detectives to the scene, where the 2 men were swiftly arrested, and during interrogation, suspects confessed to having stolen the motorcycles from different locations, including one taken on September 30, 2025 at the Jumat Mosque in Darazo town. The Commissioner of Police CP Sani Omolori Aliyu has directed that the case be transferred to the State Criminal Investigation Department for further investigation. Nigerian soldiers have launched a raid on bandits hideouts in Faruruwa near Goron Duse and Saure villages in Shanono local government area of Kano State, killing several bandits and arresting others. During the operation, the troops recovered about 30 motorcycles used by the bandits to carry out attacks in rural areas, and raid was part of ongoing military operations in northern Kano aimed at flushing out criminal groups hiding in the forest. However, one soldier was confirmed dead during the exchange of gunfire with the bandits, and the operation followed the intelligence that the bandits had invaded some villages in the area and were attempting to rustle hundreds of animals before the troops intercepted and overpowered them. The chairman of Sanono local government area, Honorable Abubakar Barau, commended the efforts of the security forces and promised continued support for their operations, and also thanked both the state and federal governments for their tireless efforts day and night to ensure that the bandits were arrested. President says President Bola Tinubu will meet with his United States counterpart Donald Trump in the coming days to discuss allegations of a Christian genocide in Nigeria. Daniel Bwala, special advisor to the president on policy communication, who disclosed this in a post on X following Trump's recent comments accusing the Nigerian government of ignoring attacks on Christians, said the planned meeting would focus on counter-terrorism cooperation and clarifying misconceptions about the nature of terrorist attacks in Nigeria. This is coming after President Donald Trump recently threatened military action against Nigeria, warning that the United States could suspend aid to the country over alleged persecution of Christians, a claim the federal government has repeatedly debunked. Bwala, however, said both leaders share a firm commitment to tackling insurgency and terrorism and strengthening cooperation in global peace and security. House of Representatives is considering a bill seeking to promote sustainable rural development, reduce poverty, and enhance the livelihoods of Nigerians in agrarian communities. The bill, titled the National Integrated Rural Development Bill 2025, the proposed legislation applies to all rural areas within the country's territorial boundaries as classified by relevant demographic and economic criteria and sponsored by the member representing Eshan Central and Eshan West, Igubet Federal Constituency, Edo State, Marcus Onobun. The bill is awaiting the second reading on the floor of the Green Chamber. A copy of the proposed legislation showed in Part 3 the provision to guarantee wage employment for rural households that would make every employed adult household entitled to a daily wage of 3,500 naira and under the wage employment for rural dwellers. The bill provides that the agency shall ensure that every rural household whose adult members volunteer to do unskilled manual work through local development projects is guaranteed a minimum of 100 days of wage employment per fiscal year. According to the bill, 1/3 of such employment opportunities are to be reserved for women in rural communities, while the key objectives include to reduce rural poverty and improve the quality of life in rural areas, enhance agricultural productivity and ensure food security, as well as encourage community participation in the development planning and decision making, and facilitate access to education, healthcare and social services in rural communities. The bill also proposed a governing council for the agency, whose chairman shall be appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has suspended some of its operatives for allegedly extorting the sum of 10 million naira from Nigerian rapper Oladipo Oladimeji, popularly known as Oladips. AFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewale, who discloses in a statement in Abuja, said the hip-hop artist had alleged that he was detained for 5 days by EFCC operatives, claiming that he paid 10 million naira before regaining his freedom despite no evidence of wrongdoing. Oyewale said the anti-graft agency viewed the allegations with utmost seriousness and had already launched a full-scale investigation into the matter, while Oladips claimed that EFCC's operatives collected money from him before securing his release after an arrest involving other suspected internet fraudsters was of a grave nature. He said the officers involved in the case were being investigated and had stood down from their duties until the investigation was completed. Oyewale reiterated the EFCC's commitment to integrity and accountability, assuring the public that any operative found guilty of misconduct would face disciplinary action and urged Nigerians to remain patient and allow due process to take its course. Reaffirming the EFCC's commitment to fighting economic and financial crimes without fear or favor. Socio-economic rights and accountability projects have filed a lawsuit against the President of the Senate, Gospel Akpabio, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, over their alleged failure to investigate claims that lawmakers pay up to 3 million naira to sponsor or present bills, promotions, and petitions at the National Assembly, describing it as a grave violation of the public trust and constitutional oath of office by lawmakers. The right group said the suit followed the viral video in which Ibrahim Ayo, a member of the House of Representatives representing Jigawa State under the All Progressives Congress, alleged that members pay between 1 million naira and 3 million naira to table legislative items. A statement on Sunday, Serap said it is seeking an order of mandamus to direct and compel Mr. Akpabio and Mr. Abbas to refer to appropriate anti-corruption agencies for investigation and prosecution of the allegations of 3 million naira bribe for bills at the National Assembly. In the suit filed by 8 lawmakers, Kolawal Oluwadare, Kehinde Oyewumi, and Andrew Nwankwa, Serap is arguing that the allegations of 3 million naira bribe for bills at the National Assembly are a grave violation of the public trust and a constitutional oath of office by lawmakers. Serap also wants the court to direct the National Assembly leadership to take necessary measures to protect Mr. Ibrahim Ayo, whom he described as a whistleblower under the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, stressing that lawmakers should not have to pay bribes to perform their legislative duties, and such practices undermine Nigeria's democratic rights under Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution, which empowers the National Assembly to make laws for the country. Indigenous people of Biafra IPOB has commended the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by the United States government. Reacting to the development in a statement on Sunday, IPOB spokesman Imama Powerful said a Canadian court had designated Nigeria's major political parties, All Progressives Congress (APC) and the People's Democratic Party (PDP) as terrorist organizations. While thanking U.S. President Donald Trump for taking the decision, IPOB described the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern as a moral victory for justice, truth, and sanctity of human lives, and urged the U.S. government to probe ethno-religious killings in Nigeria, particularly in the southeast. Opposition parties have accused President Bola Tinubu of using public resources and anti-graft agencies to pressure opposition members into joining the All Progressives Congress, adding that the APC was on the verge of collapse following a recent wave of defections from opposition parties into its ranks, and the pattern of defections among politicians, particularly governors and lawmakers, was a deliberate strategy by the ruling party to transform the country into a one-party state. Spokespersons for the People's Democratic Party, New Nigeria People's Party, and Coalition of United Political Parties, Debo Ologunaba, Oladipo Johnson, and Mark Adebayo, in separate interviews respectively, said an implosion was imminent in the APC, but the APC Director of Publicity, Bala Ibrahim, said recent defections to the party were voluntary and inspired by the ruling party's achievements, not through coercion, adding that the APC was well-structured, capable of managing its internal affairs effectively, and therefore would not experience any internal crisis. In recent months, the ruling APC has continued to receive several high-profile politicians from opposition parties, particularly the PDP. Among those who have joined the APC are Akwa Ibom State Governor Umo Eno, Delta State Governor Sheriff Oboreveri, and the PDP's 23 Vice Presidential candidate Ifeanyi Okowa, and most recently members of the Enugu State Executive Council defected to the APC, a move followed by Governor Peter Mbah's official declaration for the ruling party on October 14 in Enugu. It also recalled that on October 15, Vice State Governor Doye Duru declared his resignation from the PDP, while Taraba State Governor Agbu Kefas confirmed he would be joining the APC, including several lawmakers have also abandoned their parties to align with the ruling APC. In his reaction, Ologunapa predicted an imminent crisis within the APC, expressing confidence that those who defected would eventually return to the PDP. In his remarks, CUPP's Adebayo said the pattern of defections among politicians, particularly governors and lawmakers, was a deliberate strategy by the ruling party to transform the country into a one-party state. Health workers in medical centers across the country, universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education have distanced themselves from the ongoing industrial action declared by the National Association of Resident Doctors across the country. Operating under the aegis of the Coalition of Healthcare Professionals in Tertiary Education Institutions in Nigeria, the workers said all the medical facilities nationwide under their care remain fully functional despite the strike. The coalition comprises doctors, nurses, and pharmacists, and laboratory scientists working in tertiary institution medical centers under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Education, while about 11,000 resident doctors spread across 91 healthcare facilities began industrial action around 12 a.m. on Saturday. The striking doctors are protesting unpaid arrears, delays in allowances, and other welfare-related issues despite early assurances from the government, while NAD President Dr. Muhammad Suleiman had on Monday said the federal government owed doctors and other health workers across the country an estimated 38 billion naira in accumulated allowances. However, the national chairman of the Health Professionals Coalition, Musa Shehu, said 8 members will not join the strike, stressing that members had faced challenges including marginalization within the broader health sector, but maintained that such issues would not deter them from performing their duties. Shehu urged members of the public to take advantage of medical centers within tertiary institutions during the period of the resident doctor strike, adding that the facilities are available in every state to provide essential healthcare services. Meanwhile, the federal government has initiated moves to end the doctor strike. National Education Loan Fund says the student loan scheme has crossed 1 million applications on its official portal, marking one of the biggest uptake levels for a government-backed social scheme since the start of the Tinubu administration. A statement on Sunday by the Director of Strategic Communications, Osheyemi Oluwatuyi, Nigerian Education Loan Fund, said the milestone comes barely 1 year after the program's launch on 24 May 2024, describing it as proof that the student loan initiative is gaining strong national traction and public trust. According to the NEF Fund team, over 116 billion naira has so far been disbursed to students across universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education in Nigeria, covering institutional charges and upkeep allowances. The managing director of NEF Fund, Akintunde Soya, said the development reflects the impact of the President Bola Tinubu Renewed Hope policy drive on access to higher education, and it represents renewed hope for a generation of Nigerians determined to rise above financial barriers to education. NEF Fund further said it remains focused on ensuring no Nigerian is denied the opportunity to learn, grow, or contribute to national progress because of financial limitations. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue the rest of our stories. Do stay tuned.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe.
Welcome back, and now to some business news. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has urged Nigeria's banking sector to finance the idea of young Nigerians so that they do not resort to ecosystems outside their control. Edun disclosed this at the 2025 investiture ceremony of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria held at the Wole Soyinka Center for Cultural and Creative Arts, where he was bestowed with the honorary fellowship of the institute. Edun said it is a team effort, and those eye-watching interest rates have to be paid by the fiscal side. But the fight against inflation is one in which all Nigerians have to participate to properly understand those tight monetary policies. The Plateau State Governor, Caleb Mutfwang, in his goodwill message, appealed to the Bankers Committee and financial institutions to support efforts aimed at boosting food production and reducing inflation in the country. Africa's ambitious electrification drive, Mission 300, is gathering momentum as the World Bank Group intensifies efforts to connect millions of Africans to reliable and affordable electricity by 2030. The initiative, led jointly by the World Bank Group and the African Development Bank, aims to provide electricity access to 300 million people across the continent by the end of the decade. The target aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 7 on universal energy access. That figure, the data reviewed, rose by an additional 17 million connections in 2025, reflecting an accelerated pace of electrification across multiple countries in the region. A further 1 million connections are planned for 2026, signaling sustained progress as new projects come online and ongoing operations expand coverage. In total, 32 million Africans have gained access to electricity since the program's launch, achieving a 10.7% implementation rate towards the goal of reaching 300 million people by 2030. And in addition to connections already delivered, the portal lists 92 million people expected to benefit from approved World Bank operations and another 65 million from planned operations that are still in the project pipeline. Mission 300 brings together African governments, development banks, the private sector, and other partners to expand electricity access through a mix of grid expansion, mini-grids, and off-grid solar solutions, while improving utility performance and mobilizing private investment. Under the initiative, the World Bank Group has a target of connecting 250 million people, while the African Development Bank plans to reach 50 million people by 2030. Nigeria, home to the largest population without access to electricity in Africa, remains a major beneficiary of the program. Through the DARES initiative, the World Bank supports the deployment of solar home systems and mini-grids to benefit over 17.5 million Nigerians, representing nearly 20% of the country's unserved population. The project also aims to phase out more than 250,000 polluting and expensive diesel generators while creating jobs in the clean energy value chain. And now to international tidbits. Caribbean nation's Prime Minister says number of people killed in Jamaica as a result of Hurricane Melissa has risen to 28%, while Andrew Holness had confirmed 9 other deaths over the weekend. Emergency responders and aid agencies have struggled to reach certain parts of the island in the aftermath of the storm due to blocked roads, debris, and flooding, while the full scale of the destruction Melissa wrought on Jamaica has only become clear in the past few days as the hurricane knocked out communication systems and power to much of the island after it made a landfall on Tuesday. The Red Cross said about 72% of people across Jamaica still do not have electricity, while 6,000 are in emergency shelters, and in Cuba, thousands of people have been evacuated as more than 60,000 homes have been damaged or destroyed. The impact of climate change on the frequency of storms is still unclear, but increased sea surface temperatures warm the air above and make more energy available to drive hurricanes, cyclones, and typhoons, and they are likely to be more intense with more extreme rainfall. British police launched an investigation into a mass stabbing on London-bound train on Sunday that left 10 people wounded, including 9 critically, with 2 people arrested. The attack occurred on Saturday evening on a typically busy service between the town of Doncaster in northern England and King's Cross station in the capital, and the incident forced the train to stop at Huntingdon station in Cambridgeshire. Police said 10 people were hospitalized, 9 of whom are believed to have suffered life-threatening injuries, while 2 suspects were arrested at the station, adding that counter-terrorism units were assisting the investigation. Foster said he saw an older man block the assailant from stabbing a young girl, adding that the attack felt like forever, though it lasted only minutes. Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the appalling incident was a deep concern to the government. Djibouti's parliament has removed the age limit for presidents with a unanimous vote on Sunday to open the way for leader Ismail Omar Guelleh to run for a 6th term. This is coming after Guelleh, 77, has held power since 1999 in the tiny horn of African nation, a major port that hosts military bases for the United States, France, China, Japan, and Italy. Djibouti's lawmakers unanimously approved the change to the constitution to remove a bar on running for president past the age of 75, adding that the move allows Guelleh to run in the next election in April 2026, likely facing minimal opposition in the country with limited freedom of expression and press. Parliament has already passed the motion a week earlier in an initial vote that was then approved by Guelleh and sent back to lawmakers for the final vote, stressing that Guelleh won the last election in 2021 with 97% of the vote, while his party in the Union for the Presidential Majority holds the majority of parliamentary seats. He succeeded Hassan Guled Abtidon, the father of Djibouti's independence, in 1999 after serving as his chief of staff for 22 years, and Djibouti has only around 1 million inhabitants but lies on the strategic trade route of the Bab el Mandeb Strait on the Red Sea. supermarket explosion killed at least 23 people in northern Mexico, and the blast was an accident possibly caused by a faulty electric transformer. Durazo said survivors were being hospitalized or treated at hospitals in the city of Hermosillo, where the explosion took place, and an explosion happened at a Waldo store in the city center. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum expressed her condolences on X to the families and loved ones of those who died. And here now is 810 Sports News. Wolves have declared the dismissal of manager Vitor Pereira on Sunday. Pereira was fired after a day after the team lost 3-0 to Fulham at Craven Cottage. The result means the Molineux club are yet to win a single match after 10 rounds of fixtures. The defeat followed the 4-3 loss to Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, and the Wolves now sit 8 points from safety after picking up to only 2 points so far this season. Pereira's sacking comes only 45 days after he signed a new 3-year contract. Former Liverpool man Jamie Carragher says Chelsea's Moises Caicedo and Arsenal's Declan Rice are currently the best midfielders in world football. He made the comments following the Blues' 1-0 win over Tottenham and the Gunners' 2-0 victory over Burnley in the Premier League on Saturday. João Pedro struck in the first half to give the West London side a deserved victory at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, while Rice and Victor Gyökeres scored for Mikel Arteta's side. The result put Enzo Maresca's side back in the top 4 and ensured Arsenal extended their lead at the top of the Premier League with 7 points. And now entertainment news. Veteran Hollywood actress Ngozi Nwosu has opened up about surviving domestic abuse in her former marriage, revealing that she endured physical violence even while pregnant. Nwosu said she does not view marriage as a do-or-die affair and urged women to prioritize their safety and over societal expectations, adding that she silently endured abuse in her marriage and chose not to make her struggles public at the time. Reflecting on her experience, Nwosu said she had initially decided to walk away from her wedding because of abuse, but was persuaded to stay, and further expressed sympathy for women in similar situations, referencing the late gospel singer Osinachi Nwachukwu, whose death was linked to domestic violence. Afrobeat singer Simishola Kosoko, popularly known as Simi, has expressed pride of being a Nigerian, stressing that her favorite thing about the country is the spirit of